Neville, just tell me about the 5 straight premierships. Obviously, it's a feat not matched to this day now. What did that mean to you?
It was fairly special. Something that hadn't been done. Edgeworth had an opportunity of doing it this season, but yeah, it was very special. I think more so for the players we had. We had a very good group of players through that period, and the players all got on well away from football as well, which made the job a lot easier.
Yeah, as a coach, how did you build that culture?
I think Adamstown is always a club that people want to play for, especially back in the day. They've had their tough times more recently, and they're fighting their way back now. But back then, Adamstown was probably one of the glamour clubs of Newcastle, and it was never too hard to encourage players to come to the club, and players outside of that were, they're always keen to pull on the red and green. Yeah.
As a coach, do you look back at that as probably one of your proudest achievements?
Yeah, I think the whole period I spent at Adamstown was, I think that, as I said, the Adamstown probably had a thing like West Leagues and Newcastle at that time. They were the tall poppy, everyone wanted to beat them, and it's a credit to the players that were here at that stage. Yeah, they stuck at their task through that period, a 5-year period, and further on from that into the State League in Sydney. But like I said, the big plus for it was that the players not only were good players and good blokes, but they all got on well outside of football. They were all friends. They went out together, and yeah, we just had a really good time actually.
If there's one thing you could touch on, what is it that makes Adamstown Rosebud so special?
Going back to the days then, and prior to that, Adamstown's always had a really great record of players going through the club. To put it into effect for probably people more in today's that are involved with Adamstown today, I would say Adamstown would be what you would say maybe in those days was the Manchester United of Newcastle football. They've had quite several players go through and play for Australia, well documented. The Ray Bartses, Bunny Currans, Graham Jennings, Joe Sinkowski, players before that as well. So through that early period, it was a very, very strong club, and it produced a lot of very good players. And it's probably something these days that Newcastle, a shame Newcastle more recently probably haven't produced as many players what they used to do back then.
1989, you coached against the Socceroos. Just describe that night, set the scene for us.
It was a fantastic night. A real credit to the club for what they'd done there. We had the Deputy Prime Minister here. The Prime Minister was supposed to attend, but I think it just shows how highly the club's regarded that a game against the Australian 11 could be organised here. It was a fantastic night. We had a big dinner the following weekend as well, but on the night it was just something very special. Yeah, and everybody that participated got something out of it. Be it players, supporters, everybody. Yeah.
And winning the match, that must have made it even more special.
Well, it was. Corey called Steve Dorman had a very good game and made a couple of really good saves early on in the first half. We just built from there and built into the game, and it was really a special effort to actually win the game.
What is one thing that sets Adamstown Rosebud apart from other clubs that you've been at and been involved in?
I think all the work behind the scenes. There's a lot of good committee people at Adamstown, and that, from a coaching side of view, that makes life so much easier. As I said, they've always had, in my time, they were always a terrific bunch of boys that played here. They were really committed. They were, they set their goals and they were out to win every match that they played. But you can't do that without a lot of hard work in the background, and it's credit to all those people. They're the unseen faces that probably do more work than all of us, and don't get as much credit.
And just finally, your favourite memory from your time involved in Adamstown or your time following them as well? What stands out?
My favourite memory would be all the friendships I've made from it. It's still friends with all the guys that went through the period that I was coaching here, committee men, supporters. A real friendly club, and what I take away from it is the friendships. It's probably my highlight.